The space station called Velian Prime floated like a shining jewel in the dark sea of stars. It was larger than any human city, with towers of crystal and silver that reached high into the misty clouds of the upper atmosphere. Ships from 100 alien worlds came and went through the docking rings. Each ship carried proud banners, showing the power and pride of their worlds. The humans were new among these stars. Their home Earth had joined the Galactic Union only a few years ago. Many aliens did not trust them yet. Some thought humans were too emotional, others said they were too wild. But one thing was certain: humans had courage. They had faced hard worlds and never gave up. Among the group of human visitors was Ryan, a quiet engineer who worked on the deep space engines that made travel between stars possible. He was not an officer or a diplomat. He was there only to make sure the human ship worked well during the long journey. But when the crew landed at Velian Prime, he was chosen to attend the opening ceremony in the Grand Council Hall. He had never seen anything like it before. The hall was enormous, built of shining stone and glowing glass. Long tables curved around the center platform where the speakers stood. Creatures of every shape and color filled the seats. Some had wings that shimmered like light. Some had skin that looked like polished metal. The air smelled faintly of spices and ozone. Ryan entered quietly, holding his pass in his hand. He looked for the section marked for human guests. The room was nearly full. He could hear soft whispers around him as he walked. The sound was not loud, but he could feel the eyes of many aliens following him. Some turned away. Others stared openly, their expressions cold or curious. He tried to keep calm. He found the human section near the far wall, but there were no empty seats left. He glanced around, searching for another place to sit. No one seemed willing to make space. A tall alien with 4 eyes shifted his chair away as Ryan approached. A group of silver-skinned diplomats laughed quietly among themselves, not looking at him. For a moment, Ryan thought about leaving the hall. He could stand at the back, out of the way. He was just an engineer. No one would notice if he stayed silent. But before he could take a step, he felt a sudden touch on his wrist. The hand was cool and firm, the skin smooth like glass. He turned quickly. Standing beside him was a tall woman with skin of soft violet and eyes that glowed like golden suns. Her hair was silver white, braided with small pieces of crystal that sparkled under the lights. She wore a dark blue cloak with a crest pinned at her shoulder, the royal emblem of Velian Prime. Her voice was calm but clear. "Sit here," she said. Ryan blinked in surprise. The hall fell quiet for a moment. Everyone near them turned their heads. Some gasped softly. Others began to whisper again, but this time the tone was sharper, filled with disbelief. The woman pointed to the seat beside her. It was in the front row, close to the center of the room. Ryan hesitated. "Are you sure?" he asked. "This place seems," she interrupted gently. "Yes, sit here." Her words were firm, and there was something in her tone that made refusal impossible. Ryan nodded and sat down beside her. His heart beat faster. He did not understand why a royal figure would invite a human to sit with her. When he settled into the seat, he could feel the heavy silence around them. The others stared, but the woman seemed not to notice. She looked straight ahead as the council ceremony began. The High Speaker of the Galactic Union rose from the platform and greeted the guests. Translators whispered the speech in hundreds of languages. Ryan tried to listen, but his mind kept returning to the strange moment that had just happened. The woman beside him had saved him from embarrassment, but she had also drawn attention to him. Every glance felt like a question he could not answer. After some time, she leaned slightly toward him and spoke in a low voice. "Your people are strong," she said. "You stand even when others turn away." Ryan looked at her. "Thank you," he said softly. "But I think most people here disagree." Her golden eyes flickered with light. "They judge too quickly," she replied. "They do not understand what it means to fight for a place among the stars. My people forgot that long ago." He wanted to ask what she meant, but the speaker's voice grew louder again, announcing the new council members. Ryan stayed silent. When the ceremony ended, delegates began to leave in groups. Ryan stood up, ready to go back to his ship. But the princess turned to him again. "Do you know why I asked you to sit beside me?" He shook his head. "No, Your Highness," she smiled faintly. "Because I wanted them to see. They think your kind is weak, but they are wrong. I have studied your history. Your people came from a single world, but now you travel among stars. You build, you learn, and you rise again after every loss. That is strength. Ryan did not know what to say. He was just an engineer, not a hero or leader. Yet her words carried a weight that made him stand a little taller. As they walked toward the exit, she continued, speaking softly. I am Princess Alira, heir of Velian Prime. My people stand at the heart of this union, but we have grown comfortable. We have forgotten the hunger to explore, to reach beyond what we know. Your species still remembers that feeling. It is rare, he nodded slowly. Maybe we just keep moving because we don't know how to stop. That made her smile again. That is why you will go far. Outside the hall, the corridor was quiet. Guards in shining armor stood at attention. Alira paused beside a large window. Through it, the stars glowed against the black sky. There is danger in those stars, she said. Something stirs beyond the outer rim. My council does not believe me, but I have seen the signs. We will need allies who can act when others hesitate. Ryan listened carefully. Are you saying something is coming? She turned her gaze to him. Yes, I cannot say more yet, but I will need help. And I think humans might be the key. He stared at her, unsure what to think. He had come only to repair engines and keep out of trouble. But now the princess of one of the most powerful worlds was speaking to him about threats beyond the stars. I am just an engineer, he said quietly. Even an engineer can change the course of a war, she replied. Sometimes the smallest spark begins the greatest fire. Her words stayed in his mind long after they parted. When Ryan returned to the human ship, his friend and fellow crew member Ben was waiting. You sat next to her? Ben said in disbelief. Do you even know who that was? Ryan gave a tired smile. I think I do now. That night he could not sleep. The image of the princess's golden eyes and the sound of her calm voice filled his thoughts. She had seen something in him that he did not yet see in himself. He looked out the window at the silent stars. Somewhere out there, danger was moving closer, and for reasons he did not understand, he felt that his path was now tied to hers. Velian Prime glittered below like a living world of light. But behind its beauty, shadows waited in the quiet before the storm had already begun. The next morning, the city of Velian Prime shone under the pale blue light of its twin suns. The sky was full of floating airships gliding between towers that touched the clouds. From his small window in the guest quarters, Ryan watched the city come alive. The people below walked in calm order, their clothes flowing like silk, their faces calm and distant. He still could not believe what had happened the previous day. He had come to attend a simple meeting, and now his name was known across the station. Many had seen the moment when the Princess Alira had asked a human to sit beside her. The news had spread fast through the halls and markets. Some called it an act of peace, others called it a mistake. When Ryan walked through the corridors that morning, he could feel the stares again. But they were different now. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with silent anger. A few gave small nods of respect. A message arrived on his datapad. The royal crest glowed on the screen. It was a formal invitation to the Royal Observatory, signed by Princess Alira herself. The note was short and simple. Meet me at noon. There is something you must see. Ryan hesitated for a while, then dressed in his clean uniform and left the quarters. He took the transport lift that moved along glass tubes between towers. The city was beautiful. Silver bridges hung between buildings and gardens floated on platforms in the air. He saw people of many species walking together, though their smiles looked polite and cold. The observatory stood at the top of the highest tower. It was shaped like a dome made of crystal. When Ryan entered, he saw walls filled with star maps and glowing models of distant systems. Princess Alira stood near the main table, studying a floating image of the galaxy. Her armor was gone, replaced by a long white robe that shone softly in the light. She turned when she heard him. Thank you for coming, Ryan, she said kindly. He bowed slightly. Your Highness, you did not have to send for me. I'm just a visitor, she smiled. Yesterday you were a visitor. Today you are the man everyone is talking about. I thought you should know why I made that choice. Ryan nodded, unsure what to say. Alira walked closer to the center of the room. Do you know the story of Velian Prime? She asked. Only a little, he said. Our records say it was one of the first worlds to join the Galactic Union. She touched the glowing map and the stars shifted. That is true. Long ago my ancestors led a great alliance. We ended the ancient wars and built peace among the stars. But peace makes people slow. My world became rich and quiet. We stopped exploring. We stopped taking risks. Now our leaders believe danger no longer exists. They are wrong. Ryan stepped closer. You mean the threat you spoke about yesterday? Her expression grew serious. Yes, something moves in the dark beyond our borders. I have seen signals from the outer colonies. Whole patrols vanish without a trace. The Council refuses to believe it. They say it is only pirates or lost ships. But I know the pattern. I have studied the old records. This matches the time when the Vorn machines awakened centuries ago. He had read about the Vorn during training. They were ancient war machines created before most living species reached the stars. They had destroyed whole worlds before vanishing into deep space. Many thought they were only a legend. Ryan frowned. You think they are back? I do not know, Alira replied. But the signs are clear. And if they are truly returning, my people are not ready to face them. He crossed his arms thoughtfully. Why tell me this? I'm only an engineer. There must be others more qualified. Because you are human, she said simply. Your people understand survival. You build hope even when the universe gives you none. That is what we have forgotten. Her words carried quiet strength. Ryan felt her belief reach him like a flame. At that moment, the door opened and a tall man entered, wearing dark robes lined with gold. His face was thin, his eyes cold. He bowed to Alira but did not look at Ryan. Your Highness, he said, the Council requests your presence. They are not pleased with your actions yesterday. Some believe you showed weakness before the human delegation. Alira turned her gaze toward him, calm but sharp. Strength is not measured by where one sits, Advisor Relk. It is shown by the choices one makes. The man's expression hardened slightly. Perhaps. But the Council is growing restless. They fear your fascination with outsiders will bring trouble. Perhaps trouble is already here, she said firmly. The advisor bowed again and left. When the door closed, Ryan said softly, he doesn't seem to like humans very much. Alira smiled faintly. He does not like anyone who questions him, but his kind has ruled too long without challenge. She looked back at the star map. I must go to the Council later, but before that, I want to show you something. She touched a panel on the table, and a small holographic image appeared. It was a recording of a space signal. The sound came through as a low pulse like a heart beating in the void. Then faintly a pattern of symbols flashed across the display. Ryan leaned closer. That looks like a transmission code. It is, she said. But no one in this galaxy uses it anymore. It is the old Vorn encryption. He stared at the screen, his chest tightening. Where did this come from? From the edge of the Zelan Nebula, she replied. A scout ship picked it up 3 days ago. The ship disappeared soon after sending this message. Ryan studied the data carefully. May I copy this? I can run an analysis through the human systems. Maybe we can find something your network missed. Alira nodded. Do it, but keep it secret. The Council will stop you if they learn about this. He downloaded the file into his wrist device. Understood. For a while they stood in silence. The light from the stars covered the room in a soft glow. Ryan finally said, if what you fear is true, we should warn the Galactic Union. They will not listen to me, she answered. They will call it fear or fantasy. That is why I need proof. And I will find it even if I must go myself. He looked at her in surprise. You plan to go into the nebula? Yes, she said quietly. But not alone. Ryan took a deep breath. Then I'll go with you. Alira turned to face him. You would risk your life for a world not your own? He met her gaze. If those machines return, they won't stop at your borders. They'll come for every world, including mine. And besides, I think I owe you for giving me a seat when no one else would. Her golden eyes softened. Then we are agreed. We leave tomorrow. As she spoke, the tower lights dimmed, signaling the start of the evening cycle. From the balcony, they could see the city glow with 1,000,000 lights. Ships moved like slow comets across the sky. The beauty of Velian Prime made it hard to believe that danger could be near. Ryan watched silently as the princess stood beside him, her face turned toward the stars. For the first time since he had come to this world, he felt part of something larger than duty or work. He felt a quiet connection growing between two distant worlds, between courage and trust. Far below, the streets of the city filled with voices and music, but up here, everything was still. The stars looked peaceful, yet Ryan could not shake the feeling that they were being watched. Princess Alira finally spoke again, her voice soft. When I first saw you standing alone in that hall, I saw something in your eyes. You looked like someone who refused to give up. That is the kind of spirit we will need in the days to come. Ryan nodded slowly. Then I'll make sure I don't lose it. They stood there for a long moment, looking out into the endless dark, where the unknown waited. Neither of them knew what would happen next, but both felt the same pull, the call of danger, discovery, and destiny. Beyond the edge of known space, something old had awakened, and the path of the princess and the human had only just begun. The next day, before the twin suns had risen above Velian Prime, Ryan stood in the royal hangar. It was a vast chamber made of silver walls and bright blue lights. Rows of ships stood ready, their smooth bodies shining under the glow. Mechanics moved around them, checking engines and weapons. The air was filled with the soft hum of power cores warming up. At the center stood a small ship with curved wings and a clear glass dome. Its name was Silver Crest, and it belonged to Princess Alira herself. She walked toward it wearing a light armor suit with golden markings that showed her royal status. When she saw Ryan, she gave a small nod. "You came early," she said. "I could not sleep," Ryan replied with a smile. "I kept thinking about what we might find out there." Alira looked at the stars above the open hangar doors. "We will find the truth, whatever it is." Two guards stood nearby, ready to follow, but Alira turned to them. "You will stay here. This mission is secret. No one must know until we return." The guards hesitated but obeyed. Ryan climbed into the ship and took the co-pilot's seat beside her. The inside was bright and simple, filled with control panels and screens. When Alira placed her hand on the main console, the ship came alive with a low hum. "Silver Crest requesting launch clearance," she said through the comm. "Launch granted," came the voice from the tower. The hangar doors opened, revealing the endless sky. The ship rose smoothly, then shot forward into the blue morning. The city below became a sea of silver light. Moments later, the ship broke through the atmosphere and entered open space. Ryan looked out of the dome. The stars stretched around them like a blanket of fire. He had traveled through space many times before, but it always took his breath away. Their journey to the Zeeland Nebula took several hours. It was a region far from any main routes, full of dark gas clouds and hidden asteroids. Many ships avoided it because of the strange magnetic storms inside. As they approached, the soft colors of space turned darker. Swirling clouds of green and blue light filled the window, moving like smoke. "This place looks alive," Ryan said quietly. "It is beautiful and dangerous," Alira replied. "Many who come here never return." The ship's sensors started to flicker. Strange energy readings appeared on the screen. Ryan leaned forward, trying to steady the data flow. "These waves are strong. If we go deeper, they might block our signal completely." "That is what I expect," Alira said. "Whatever sent that signal is inside." They moved carefully through the shifting clouds. Lightning flashed across the nebula, bright and silent. Pieces of metal floated among the mist. Remains of ships destroyed long ago. Some looked ancient, covered with dark scars. "Look at that," Ryan whispered, pointing to a broken hull nearby. "That's Velian design, but it's old." Alira's face grew serious. "Those markings are from our 3rd Defense Fleet. They disappeared 2 months ago." Ryan turned to the radar. "There are more signals ahead. Wreckage everywhere." They slowed the ship and moved closer. Bodies of drones floated in the gas, their eyes dark. Then they saw something that made both of them fall silent. In the distance, half hidden in the glowing fog, stood a massive object shaped like a black tower. It did not move, but the light around it seemed to bend. Ryan felt a chill. "What is that?" "The Vorn," Alira said softly. "It must be one of their sentinels." They watched as faint red lights began to glow along the surface of the black structure. A low hum filled the air. "It's waking up," Ryan said quickly. "We need to scan it fast before it notices us." He started the scanners, but the data stream came in bursts. The machine was blocking their signal. Alira activated the cloaking field to hide their ship. For a few moments, everything was silent except the steady hum of energy. The readings appeared on Ryan's screen. "It's transmitting something." A message repeating over and over. "It's in the same code as before, and can you translate it?" "I can try." Ryan worked fast, comparing the symbols to old human encryption systems. After a few minutes, he decoded part of the message. His eyes widened as he read it aloud. "Reconstruction process complete. Phase 2 begins. Prepare the core." Alira looked at him sharply. "Phase 2 of what?" He shook his head. "I don't know, but it sounds like they're building something. Maybe an army." Suddenly, an alarm rang through the ship. The cloaking field began to flicker. On the radar, a red mark appeared and moved toward them fast. They detected us, Ryan said. A sharp beam of light shot out from the black tower, passing close to their ship. The impact shook the hull. "Hold on," Alira shouted as she pulled the controls. The silver crest turned sharply and sped through the clouds. More beams followed, bright and silent, tearing through the mist. Ryan activated the defense shields. The energy field shimmered around them, holding back the first few hits. "We can't outfight that thing," he said. "We have to run." "I know a way out," Alira said, flying lower through the gas clouds. She guided the ship between drifting rocks and glowing dust storms. The Vorn weapon fired again, missing by a narrow margin. The explosion sent waves of force that pushed the ship sideways. Ryan grabbed the side rail to steady himself. "Shields down to 60%. "Almost clear," Alira said, her voice calm but firm. The ship broke through the edge of the nebula, spinning into open space. The lights behind them faded as the Vorn tower disappeared back into the fog. After a few moments, silence returned. Ryan let out a slow breath. "That was close," Alira nodded. "We have what we came for." She looked at the data now safely stored in their system. The recording showed the message and the coordinates of several other locations across the galaxy. "If these are real, the Vorn are not just waking up here. They are spreading." Ryan studied the map. "These points form a pattern. It looks like a ring. A ring around the core worlds," Alira said quietly. "They are closing in." They set a course back to Velian Prime. During the flight, both of them stayed silent for a long time. Ryan could see the tension in Alira's face. She was strong, but he could tell that she carried heavy worry. After a while, she spoke. "If I show this to the Council, they will still doubt me. They will say the recordings are false. They fear what they do not understand." "Then let me help," Ryan said. "I can send this through human command. They may take it seriously. Humans know what it means to face a threat no one believes in." She looked at him thoughtfully. "You are brave, Ryan. I chose well when I asked you to sit beside me that day." He smiled a little. "That day feels like a long time ago." When they arrived at Velian Prime, the landing was quiet. Only a few guards saw them. Alira told them nothing of what had happened. They went straight to the observatory and locked the doors. Ryan began transferring the data to a secure channel. He noticed something strange in the signal. "Wait," he said. "There's a hidden code inside the message. It's tracking us." Before he could finish, the lights in the room flickered. The sound of static filled the air. A small drone near the ceiling powered on by itself, its red eye glowing. "Destroy it," Alira said quickly. Ryan grabbed a pulse tool from the table and fired. The drone fell to the floor, smoke rising from its side. "That means they already know where we are," Ryan said. Alira's eyes were cold and focused. "Then we must move fast. Gather everything and prepare the ship again. We will need proof strong enough that even the Council cannot deny it." Outside the window, lightning flashed across the clouds of Velian's upper sky. The storm had begun. Ryan looked once more at the stars. Somewhere out there, more Vorn machines were waking. He felt a strange mix of fear and determination. He had come to this world as a simple engineer, but now he stood at the center of a battle that could decide the fate of many worlds. Alira placed her hand on his shoulder. "We stand together now," she said. "Human and Velian. Whatever comes next, we face it as one." He nodded firmly. "Then let's make sure the stars remember." And as thunder rolled over the shining city, the human and the alien princess prepared for the journey that would take them deeper into the dark, where the true face of the enemy waited to rise. The Council Hall of Velian Prime was filled with tension. High-ranking officials and ambassadors from many worlds had gathered. The domed ceiling reflected the golden light of the twin suns, making the room feel bright, but the atmosphere was heavy. Whispers spread through the crowd as Princess Alira stood at the center, her white cloak flowing lightly. She did not hesitate or show fear. In front of her, Ryan, still wearing his engineer uniform, held a data pad that contained all the recordings from the Zealand Nebula. The council members leaned forward to see the glowing symbols and maps of the Vorn activity. Alira raised her hand for silence. "Esteemed council members, I stand before you with proof. The Vorn machines thought to be extinct are awakening. They are building forces that will destroy any world in their path. We cannot wait to respond. Action must be taken now." A murmur ran through the hall. Some of the older members looked skeptical. One of them, a tall alien with silver feathers, stood and spoke in a sharp voice. "Your Highness, this evidence is insufficient. We have no confirmation. You ask us to believe that ancient legends are returning to life. Ryan stepped forward, showing the transmission data. I have translated the signals. The machines are following a systematic pattern. If we do not act now, their next move will be against Velian Prime itself. A few younger delegates whispered to each other. The council room, once quiet, became a swirl of tension and debate. Alira's voice remained strong. The recordings come from our own scouts, lost to the nebula. If we delay, we risk losing everything. Humanity has faced the impossible and survived. They are willing to fight, and so are we. Together we can defend our worlds. The council fell silent, weighing her words. Finally, a middle-aged Velian officer spoke. If you proceed, Your Highness, you will not have the full council's support. This mission will be on your authority alone. Alira nodded. Then we will act on my authority, and we will not fail. After the council meeting, preparations began quickly. Ships were armed and hybrid technologies were integrated. Velian precision and human ingenuity combined into a new fleet. Ryan worked closely with engineers, helping to adapt the ship's engines for higher speed and the pulse cannons for greater firepower. As they approached the outer rim, the fleet formed a tight formation. Princess Alira led the human and Velian forces in the Silver Crest, flying in front with confidence and precision. Ryan watched the displays, checking every detail. The nebula loomed ahead, dark and swirling like a living shadow. Remember, Alira said to the pilots, the Vorn are not like any enemy we have faced. They follow no reason, only code. Watch for patterns. React fast. Protect each other. Ryan felt his heart pound. He had trained for simulations, but nothing could prepare him for facing the Vorn in real space. The silence of the stars seemed louder than ever as they entered the nebula. Suddenly, red lights appeared in the mist. The Vorn fleet emerged, black and angular, moving with cold precision. Their numbers were staggering, larger than anyone had expected. Ships of every size, from small drones to massive cruisers, glided through the fog with lethal intent. Stay focused, Alira said calmly. Target the leads. Follow the plan. Ryan activated the pulse cannons on the Silver Crest. Bright bursts of energy shot forward, striking the nearest Vorn drones. The explosions lit the dark clouds of the nebula, revealing more machines behind them. The first volley of the enemy came fast. Beams of red energy tore through the mist, hitting the edges of their formation. Shields shimmered as they absorbed the blows. Ryan adjusted the energy flow, redirecting power to the forward defenses. They are adapting, he shouted to Alira. We need to change tactics. Alira nodded. Split into 3 groups. Draw them apart. Target their cores separately. The fleet followed her command. Small squads flew around the massive Vorn cruisers, firing pulse cannons and dodging the enemy beams. Explosions erupted around them. Smoke and debris filled the sensors, making navigation difficult. Ryan piloted the Silver Crest through the chaos. He felt the ship shudder with every hit. One blast grazed the side, sending sparks across the control panels. Alira gripped the console, keeping the ship steady. Focus on the lead cruiser, she shouted. Ryan directed the cannons toward the massive ship. Their combined fire tore into its armor. The Vorn responded with a blast that rocked their ship. Alira shouted for evasive maneuvers, banking sharply through the swirling clouds. The fleet followed her lead. Small human and Velian squads executed daring attacks, each striking and then retreating, confusing the Vorn machines. Ryan realized that their success depended not on size or strength, but on strategy, speed, and courage. Amid the battle, a massive shockwave shook the Silver Crest. One of the cruisers exploded nearby. Ryan grabbed the side handle to stay steady. Alira's voice remained calm. We must protect each other. Do not let fear control you. Then a red beam hit the Silver Crest directly. The ship jolted violently. Ryan's screen flashed warnings, shields down to 50%, engines overheating. We cannot hold this, Ryan shouted. Not yet, Alira said. I have an idea. She activated the cloaking sequence and shot the ship into the thick of the nebula clouds. The Vorn beams followed, missing narrowly. Ryan worked quickly to adjust the shields and weapons. I'm rerouting all energy to the front cannons. We can break through their formation. Alira nodded. Do it! The Silver Crest shot forward, leading a small squad of human pilots. They struck the enemy line with precise bursts of energy, breaking the Vorn formation. The cruiser beams struggled to track their movements through the clouds. Ryan felt adrenaline surge through him. He had never been so close to death, yet he had never felt so alive. Every maneuver, every shot, every decision mattered. The lives of his team, the princess, and perhaps even Velian Prime depended on him. Then a massive explosion shook the Silver Crest. Alira's ship tilted sharply. Ryan realized the engines had taken damage. "Engines failing!" he shouted. "Hold on," Alira said. With skill and calm determination, she maneuvered the ship out of the blast zone. The enemy cruiser fired again, but the cloaking system made them difficult targets. Ryan adjusted the weapons again. "We can take it down if we focus fire." The squad followed Alira's lead. Pulse cannons fired in unison. The lead Vorn cruiser shuddered and then broke apart, its core exploding in a massive ball of light. The Vorn drones scattered, disorganized without their lead. "Victory," Ryan shouted, but Alira quickly raised a hand. "Not yet. There are more." The remaining Vorn ships regrouped and advanced, but the fleet was ready. Humans and Velians coordinated perfectly, striking fast and moving unpredictably. The battle continued for hours, filled with flashes of light, explosions, and daring maneuvers. At one moment, a massive Vorn ship targeted Alira directly. Ryan acted without thinking. He guided the Silver Crest between her ship and the incoming fire, taking the hit. The shields weakened and sparks flew inside their cockpit. Alira looked at him, surprised. "Ryan, I got you," he shouted. "Stay with me." They moved together through the clouds. With skill, courage, and trust, they broke the line of attack. The fleet finally gained control. The Vorn machines began to retreat, disappearing into the mist of the nebula. The Silver Crest floated in silence for a few moments. The battle was over, but the cost was high. Ships had been lost and many pilots injured. Ryan looked at Alira. Her face was calm, but her golden eyes reflected concern and relief. "You did well," she said softly. "We could not have done this without you." Ryan shook his head. "We did it together, human and Velian." "Just like you said," Alira smiled faintly. "This is only the beginning. The Vorn will return and we must be ready. But today we showed them that courage and unity can defeat even the darkest machines." Ryan looked at the stars around the nebula, still glowing faintly from the battle. He realized that his life had changed forever. He had come as a visitor to Velian Prime, and now he had fought in a battle that would be remembered across worlds. Alira placed a hand on his shoulder. "Rest now. We have work to do, but tonight we honor those who stood with us. You have earned your place among them." As the Silver Crest headed back to Velian Prime, Ryan gazed out of the window. The nebula, once dark and threatening, now seemed quiet, almost peaceful, but he knew it would not stay that way. Something ancient had awakened, and they had only delayed its return. Still, for the first time, Ryan felt hope. Together with Princess Alira and the fleet, humanity and Velian had faced the impossible, and survived. The aftermath of the battle hung over Velian Prime like a heavy cloud. The city glowed under the twin suns, but the streets were quieter than usual. People whispered about the Vorn attack, and the news of the fleet's victory spread quickly. Yet the council remained divided. Some questioned the courage of the humans. Others admired it, but feared giving them too much influence. Ryan walked through the grand halls of the palace with Princess Alira. Her white cloak flowed lightly, and her golden eyes scanned the banners and statues that marked Velian history. Despite the recent victory, the tension of politics weighed on her shoulders. "We must present the evidence," she said softly. "The council cannot ignore it any longer." Ryan nodded. "They will have no choice now. The recordings, the battle reports, the coordinates, it all proves what we faced." They entered the main council hall, where the high chairs of the leaders gleamed under the ceiling lights. The air was charged with anticipation. Delegates from across the galaxy filled the room, whispering among themselves. For the first time, no one ignored the humans. Eyes followed Ryan as he stepped forward with the datapad in hand. Alira stood beside him. "Honored members," she said clearly, "we have faced an ancient threat that is not yet gone. The Vorn machines attacked beyond the nebula, and our fleet fought bravely to stop them. The humans were with us. They risked everything, and yet some still doubt their strength." A murmur passed through the crowd. Ryan held the datapad high. The holographic projection displayed images of the Vorn fleet, the destroyed drones, and the maps of the nebula. Each frame showed the precision and courage of the human pilots. A council elder, a being with translucent wings and silver hair, stood slowly. This is undeniable," he said, his voice trembling. The humans have shown courage equal to any Velian warrior. They fought beside us not as guests but as defenders. Others nodded, whispering agreement. The tension shifted from doubt to respect. Ryan felt a surge of relief, but he remained careful, understanding that the council still had doubts to overcome. Alira turned to him with a small smile. "You were right to join me. Your people understand courage." Ryan shook his head. "It's not just me. It's all of us, humans and Velians alike. We fought together." The council paused, then the leader of the assembly, a tall figure with a crest of flowing energy, addressed the room. "Today we recognize the bravery of all who fought, and we honor those who saved Velian Prime." He looked directly at Ryan and then at the human delegation. "Your courage has earned you a place in our history." Applause filled the hall. Ryan, who had felt invisible for most of his life, stood in shock as the room celebrated his actions. Princess Alira gave a proud nod. "You have proven that strength comes not from heritage or rank, but from heart and resolve." After the formalities, Alira led Ryan to a small balcony overlooking the city. The street sparkled as evening lights flickered on. The wind carried the scent of strange flowers from floating gardens below. For a moment they stood in silence. "You have earned a seat of honor," she said softly, her hand resting on the railing. "Not just beside me, but among all who defend the stars." Ryan looked at her. "I never expected this. I only wanted to do my job and survive the mission." Alira smiled. "Survival is only the first step. What you did today will inspire others. Your courage shows that even a single human can change the outcome of a great battle." Ryan felt a warmth spread through him. He had begun the journey as a quiet engineer, unnoticed among the vastness of space. Now he stood on the balcony of Velian Prime, honored by a royal figure and respected by countless alien leaders. Below, the city moved like a living organism. People from different worlds walked together, exchanging greetings and gifts, some glancing at the balcony where the human and princess stood. Somewhere beyond the stars, other threats might be stirring, but for the moment humanity had proven its place. Alira turned to Ryan. "This is just the beginning. The Vorn may rise again. Other dangers will come. But now we know something important. We can face them together." Ryan nodded, feeling a newfound determination. "Then we will be ready. Whatever comes next, we will stand together." The two of them looked out over the glittering city, the twin suns casting long golden rays across the towers and gardens. The night began to fall and the stars appeared one by one in the darkening sky. They sparkled like tiny promises of adventure, danger, and hope. For Ryan, the memory of the moment when Princess Alira had seized his wrist and told him to sit would never fade. That simple act of trust had led him to a place where courage, unity, and determination could change history. As the Council officially recognized humanity's role in defending Velian Prime, Ryan felt a quiet pride. They had not asked for a seat at the table. They had earned it through bravery, skill, and heart. Princess Alira placed a hand on his shoulder once more. "You're not just a visitor anymore. You belong here." Ryan looked at the stars and then back at the city. He understood that this was more than honor. It was a responsibility. He had seen the vast darkness beyond the nebula and the cold precision of the Vorn machines. He had faced them with courage and he had survived. Now he must help protect all worlds from the threats that lurked in the darkness. Below them, the city lights shimmered like a sea of gold. Ships moved across the skies carrying travelers, traders, and explorers to new worlds. The future of Velian Prime, and perhaps the galaxy, had changed because one human had dared to sit beside an alien princess. Ryan smiled at Alira. "So what happens now?" She looked at him with a confident gaze. "Now we prepare. We strengthen the fleets, we train the pilots, and we unite our worlds. The Vorn may return, but they will never find us unready again." He nodded. "Then let's make sure they never forget the courage of humans." The night deepened and the stars above Velian Prime burned brightly, silent witnesses to the new alliance. Human and Velian stood together side by side, prepared to defend the galaxy. Ryan understood that his life had changed forever. From the quiet engineer who searched for a simple seat in a crowded hall, he had become a symbol of courage and hope. The galaxy would remember this day, not for power or wealth, but for the strength and unity that humans and Velians had shown. Princess Alira smiled again. "You will always have a place here, Ryan, a seat of honor." He looked at her and then at the glowing city below. and I will make sure that honor is never wasted." Together they stood on the balcony gazing at the stars. The darkness beyond would always be there, but so would their courage. Together they would face it, and together they would ensure that the light of humanity and Velian would shine across the galaxy forever. The end.